What's going on, good people? It's your boy C Nell, how I see it. Happy to be back. You already know what time it is. Man, I'm excited for this video. I'm ready to introduce you guys to the challenge that I'm doing. Definitely excited. Definitely excited. So we won't spend too much time. We'll get straight into it. I did want to say, again, I'm happy as heck to be back with you guys. It's still truly a passion of mine just for us as people to come together, get on our finances, have more money saved, invest, build wealth, all those things. But there's a path to get there. And oftentimes I'm realizing there's certain echelons that you get that information. And even with the availability of the information out there on YouTube, Google, all that kind of stuff, filtering through sort of what's applicable to you, and because a lot of that stuff is targeted for people who already made it, people who already have money, and they're sort of telling them what to do with the money you already have, but you're skipping a couple of steps. You got to get there. You got to have your emergency fund. You got to have money to play with in terms of investing and building, towards your future, or whatever your motivating factor is, whether it's yourself, your kids, your family, whatever it is, a goal that you're working towards. So anyway, if you are not already following me on IG, go ahead and follow me at, I'll put it up there somewhere. But go ahead and follow me, check me out, man. I'm always giving updates, even with my Robin Hood journey as well, giving updates on there. Let's go Tesla, by the way. But also, if you have not already, I would humbly ask, go ahead and hit that like button down below and go ahead and subscribe down below. And also hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my future content. If you're interested in things like tips and little tricks on saving money, money management overall. I am not a licensed professional. I'm just a guy on YouTube who's been through a lot, who's seen a lot, much like you guys have. And I just want to share my experiences and the things that I find to help us as a community do better with our money. It's sad nowadays, the number one cause, and I'm single, but the number one cause of divorce in America is money and money fights. That's bad. So let's push forward. Let's start a new focus of getting on top of our finances, being good stewards of our money, and really finding out what brings us value in our lives. I think we spend a lot of time and a lot of money on stuff that don't really bring value to our lives. And then we do that and sustain that for years and years. And then we look back and we don't have the things that we could have had in place, like an emergency fund, like a good start on a retirement, or if you have kiddos, you want to pay for their schooling or college or what have you, or hey, they're young now, but eventually they're going to get their driver's license and need a car. Things are like that really matter long term. Sometimes they get pushed to the side because of instant gratification. So we're trying to change that, man. So with that said, in this video, I'm gonna, one, introduce you to the challenge that I'm doing, and detail it and sort of what it is. Two, we're also gonna go over why I think everybody should do this challenge, right? And in that second part, I'll break down some do's and don'ts. There's always somebody trying to push the envelope. Some do's and don'ts in terms of the challenge itself. So those will be the 2 quick points on this video we'll cover. I won't keep you guys long, but I'm definitely excited to introduce you guys to this challenge. And again, so you see value in it, tell you my opinion on why we all should be doing it, right? So without further ado, welcome back. Hey, wait, go ahead and smash that like button, man, and subscribe. It's your boy. Let's get into it. All right, good people. So what the challenge is that I'm doing is called the dollar and change challenge. Had to do that. So it's called the dollar and change challenge. So what this challenge is essentially an additional way for us as people to find a way to save a little bit more money, right? A little bit more cash. Because the one thing we all know, if you are an adult and life is going on and things gonna pop up and etc., you can never have too much money saved. I mean, that's just keeping it real. You can never have too much money saved. So what this allows us to do is just another little way for us to find ways to save money. So I know, I'll stop and say this. A lot of people say, oh, well, I don't even use cash anymore. Man, don't nobody use cash, I got my debit card. I get that. And I also understand that the American currency right now, the dollar, is definitely losing value. That's a conversation for a whole nother video. But cash is still king, nonetheless, right? And there's no emotional attachment. There's a reason why behind student loan debt, which is, again, a whole nother video for a whole nother day. Credit card debt has been the highest debt in the average household. So with that said, I understand that you may not necessarily use cash, but start using cash, right? I think that does a couple of things. One, it's going to, like, as I mentioned, there's no emotional attachment to using a card, whether it's a debit card or a credit card. There's no emotional attachment to it. So it's too easy for us to swipe. The next thing you realize, you don't swipe too much. Way too much sometimes. Additionally, with that said, I know there's some cards that offer, certain benefits or whatnot, but realistically, you gotta stand in your own truth. How often do you really capitalize on that? Are you truly saving any money by utilizing that card? Money that if something happens, you can get and use. Keep it 100 with yourself, man. I wasn't. I'll be the first one to raise my hand. I wasn't, so something had to change. So with this particular one, I tend to use cash. Now, you shouldn't keep big wads of cash on you and stuff like that, but the fact is, unfortunately, in the day and age we live, if somebody wants to rob you, they're gonna rob you regardless, right? Because a lot of people are trying to take that angle. Oh, well, I'm not keeping all this cash on me so people can try and rob me. Well, there are certain settings that you shouldn't keep a bunch of cash on you. Example, if you go on a vacation or something, you shouldn't be in another city or in a foreign country with a boatload of cash on you. That's not the wisest decision. We'll just say it that way. But anyway, with this, use your cash. And on a previous video, 7 things you should be doing every single time you get paid, and I'll put it up there somewhere. That's one of the things. Take that cash out, especially with the pandemic going on. We're at home more than what we have been. So what I've realized is a lot of people get bored and you start buying time or just getting through that time by, oh, let me hop on Amazon. Let me hop on Best Buy. Let me hop on this or that and see what they got. We're spending more unnecessary money because we have to have something, or we're just bored and ain't got nothing else to do. So you wind up overextending yourself for spending money that you probably shouldn't have spent. So one, by using cash, that makes it harder to do. Now, if there is something that you're planning on purchasing for your home, for your kids, for whomever it may be, again, work that in the budget and then leave those funds in your account and use those funds specifically for that purchase you have allocated for, those funds too. But carrying cash and using cash has that emotional attachment to it. So every time you pass out that $1 or $5, whatever it is that you're paying for, you see that cash leaving your hands. How much? Don't reach. Let me give it to you. That's disrespectful. Wait. Don't pull it like that. I'm going to set it on the counter. Okay. I don't know what that was. But, keeping it real. There's that emotional attachment to it. So that helps you hold on to those dollars. And you tend to think about making the purchase before you actually make it, right? But what this challenge is, at the end of the day, when you come back to the crib or you come back home, you throw your dollars, all singles that you have, into one container, and then the change goes in another container. And as time passes, as you go and come, what have you, you continue to do that, and both of these will accumulate cash or money of some form. The reason I didn't do, there's another challenge and other challenges out there, like the $5 challenge. Keeping it real, until you get the discipline to actually know consciously that you have money in these containers and not mess with it, I don't think the $5 challenge is a good idea for you necessarily. The reason I say that is because if you're aware of the fact that you have a bunch of $5 bills sitting in a container, right? You're more apt to go in there. Keep it 100 with yourself. You're more apt to go in there and dive in there and pull out. Oh, let me. That's like my alter ego of old. But you're more apt to go into the container and take out what you've been working hard to save, right? So I think it's all just mental tricks and mental games. Because again, finance, 80% just head knowledge and creating those habits for ourselves and that discipline. I think this will help us, and it's definitely helped me. Even when I did it a long time ago, it helped me because, man, there's singles in there. I don't feel like counting through all them singles, but I got to the point where I was able to know consciously that, okay, that money's in there, and still not touch it. Even when I really needed it. No, things that I thought were emergencies are emergencies. I'm not going in here. I'm working hard to build this up. And it's for a reason, right? So now with that said, the 2 containers that I bought, I went to, where did I go for these? The 99-cent store, actually. 99 cents a piece. And they're, and they're 2 quart containers or 8 cups. It was $2 some change total purchase, right? And the change from the purchase I put in here, right? So very inexpensive, but it's a way for you to start creating those good habits. And I'm excited about it. So on this challenge, I'm not only doing it myself, but I'm challenging my sister, and I've already talked to them about it. My sister, Walk With Me, Tiffany, in on this challenge, as well as my mom. I'm going to talk to other family members about it as well. Some restrictions to it though, because you always got them overachievers. We're going to start it right now. And you can only start with an initial contribution of up to $20 in whatever form, whether it be $20 in singles or in change or a combination of the two. It can be no more than $20. Again, that's where integrity kicks in, right? We have to be honest with ourselves and throughout this process. That's why I highly encourage you, if you're going to do this challenge with somebody else or get others to participate, get like-minded individuals, one, but get people that you trust with high integrity, right? Who are going to be honest through the process, because that's what it's all about, being honest with ourselves. So anyway, also, you can never enter more than $10 at a time for a scheduled deposit. Meaning, if you put it in your head, okay, every time I get paid, I'm gonna turn $10 or $5 into, put it in a change machine and get $5 worth of quarters and drop it in there, right? Or $10 worth of singles, I'm gonna just drop it in there to help myself, create those, getting used to every time I get paid, pay myself before I pay anybody else. Because that's what the whole point of this is. But it can be in addition to, once you get these good habits, you can continue to do this with your passive pocket change, right? And then start reaching bigger goals and bigger goals in terms of savings. But you can never put more than $10 at one scheduled time, period. So if you say every time you get paid, whether it's every 2 weeks, whatever your pay schedule is, you can only put $10, right? And also, they can only $1 bills can go into the $1 jar, and only change can go into the change jar. Even if you're putting $10 in, you can't put 2 5s in here. It's the dollar and change challenge, right? So you can't put 2 5s in here, right? So you put your dollars in here, you put your change in here. And I think equally as important, once you put that money in there, it is off limits. I don't care what pops up. You'd be surprised. And you hear those stories about those parents, those moms moving cars or lifting cars just enough, if their child's in danger, etc. You'd be surprised if I told you right now that you had to come up with $100, right? To save your child or to save your own life, I guarantee you, legal ways. Let me preface it by saying legal ways. I'm not, but I guarantee you, you'll find a way to get that $100, point blank period. So look at this as off limits. No matter what happens, what comes up, it is off limits. Because what we're trying to do here, unfortunately, most people don't have their emergency fund set up. And you don't have to share this with anybody else, but at some point we have to be real and honest with ourselves. That's, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. So most people don't have their emergency fund set up. That's where this comes in. Let's start the beginning of that emergency fund, right? And then once you get that taken care of, now let's focus and roll that over on, okay, I try and be realistic in the fact that not everybody is going to be able to be gazelle intense. I love Dave Ramsey. Go Dave Ramsey. If you don't know Dave Ramsey, go check him out. He's awesome. Awesome. He's changed millions of lives with this program. So you set a time frame for this challenge. What we're doing is through the end of the year, through the end of 2020, which is of course December 31st. And at the end of this year, 2020, or December 31st, whoever has the most money saved in their jars together has to give. So here it's whoever has the highest amount saved, the others have to give them $25. Say for example, if you have, it's 5 of you guys, or what have you. If you have the most money saved in your jars at the end of the year, or whatever that time frame that you guys have given yourself, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, whatever it is, that's additional savings that you're going to receive from the other people. And that just adds a little bit of competition. Also, it's going to add that level of accountability, because in the back of your head, they saving too, and they're trying to save more than you. So it's just a little friendly competition, but an additional way to hold each other, our loved ones, and ourselves accountable. So again, with our challenge, what we're doing through the end of this year, you guys can do the same thing. I highly encourage you guys, do this with your family, do this with your friends, your spouse, your significant other, whoever it may be. But guess what? At the end of the day, everybody wins, because you're saving money that 9 times out of 10, you probably wouldn't have saved otherwise, right? Again, there's a $5 challenge, but to me, from what I've seen, and even getting feedback from people who have done it, and I've done it before, if you know that all those bunch of $5 bills are sitting in there, you're more likely to screw off the top of the jar, and dip into it. And that defeats the purpose of us sacrificing or working hard to get that saved. And I started alluding to this second part, but point number 2, why I think we all should be doing it. At the end of the day, saving money is a very good thing. Statistics show that a lot of Americans, and regardless of what country you're in, a lot of people aren't saving money. We have a negative saving rate, which means we spend more than we save, right? There are a lot more complicated vehicles to saving money in terms of building wealth and things of that nature. We're not worried about that right now. What this challenge is just to get us to save money, and also start creating those good habits of, boom, let me create the habit of paying myself before you pay anybody else. But on top of that, me knowing that money is there, and having the discipline and developing that discipline to not touch that money, right? Another benefit of this is you really get sort of emotionally tied to it. So you're excited about saving that money. And that's what it's all about. We have to be more excited about saving money than we do about spending money. And that sort of goes back to what I was saying about understanding what brings value to you in your life. Oftentimes, and we're all guilty of this, we get so excited by buying a new TV or the PlayStation 5 that's coming out or what have you, instead of paying ourselves and building for our own future. I bring up the PlayStation 5. Yeah, I'm getting the PlayStation 5, but I had already set money aside for the last probably 6 months. Each check, I take a little bit out, a little bit out, a little bit out, a little bit out. So when the PlayStation 5 is ready, boom, I can go ahead and get it. And I don't even miss that money. If you already got your emergency fund saved and you're already doing a good job of paying down your debt, you can use this as Simply that. Even if you do the challenge by yourself, or if you have a group of friends and you guys say, hey, next year we want to go on a vacation, boom, let's start doing the challenge now. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to fruition and we're ready to buy our tickets or buy, for whatever the vacation is, boom, we essentially got, if not all, most of the money or a good chunk of the money. But oh, by the way, it's just a friendly sort of level of competition to it to say, oh yeah, and y'all gonna pay for my first meal or my first couple of drinks because I won, I got the most money, so y'all gotta give me $25. So it's little things like that, but I highly encourage people to do this because one, I'm passionate and care about people being good stewards of their money. It's too often we hear the stories and it just amazes me that we all refuse to do anything about it, to change our habits. Have that money saved. Let's start getting these good habits in place so that this little bit of change introduces us to that discipline so that now we can take it to higher levels. We can still do this because you can never save too much money, but we can increase our savings rate to 10, 15, 20, 30%, whatever it is, and then by you doing this and developing that discipline, you have to set realistic goals for yourselves in terms of, okay, what is the savings rate? Meaning of my income, how much of that do I want to save? On average, they're going to tell you 10 to 15%. For the average person, 10 to 15%. But the elite or the folks that are aggressive about, I don't want to slave myself for the rest of my life, working some job for somebody else, or even if you own your own business, that's great. Kudos to you. Not mad at that, especially if it's something that you love and you're passionate about. But again, no one wants to spend their entire life or adult life working and working and working and working to not be able to enjoy it or be secure, to be able to retire or retire early and really enjoy life, Things have changed, man. So let's keep that focus. But that's the challenge, man. Again, I highly encourage everybody to do it. That dollar and change challenge. You just, as you come through and as you go through your weeks and your months, throw your dollars and change in the jar. I encourage that you get other people involved. Loved ones, family, that close coworker that you cool with, because it's all for a good cause. And there's no harm in healthy competition of saving money. Matter of fact, I think we should do this more often, right? So, but with that said, man, I appreciate you guys checking out the video. If you stayed this long, I definitely appreciate you. And if you haven't already, go ahead and like the video, man. If you watched this long, there's something in there that resonated with you, I'm hoping, and you saw some value in this video. But I look forward to keeping you guys, just giving quick snapshots of sort of where we're at in the dollar and change challenge. But down in the comments, let me know what kind of challenges you guys are doing, or if you're going to go ahead and take on the challenge. And again, you can do it just solo dolo by yourself, or you can introduce it to family, friends, loved ones, significant other, whatever. But let me know who's going to be in the challenge with you, man. Let's get it. Let's find ways to save that little bit of money and allow it over time to build up. Even if, like I said, you've got your emergency fund in place, you're working down your debt, you're already invested into a 401k or what have you. You may have a Roth IRA or what have you. Well, this can be your vacation money, or this can be, okay, we're going to want a new TV, Black Friday. Well, start doing this. That's a little bit less that you have to worry about. Or Christmas is coming up, and instead of what the average person does, run up credit cards and spend all their last out of their paychecks, let's start getting a buffer, right? But the most important thing is just the stewardship of it, so that you don't miss that money, or so that you can create some kind of savings. So with that said, good people, it's your boy C-Nail. Oh, and quick shout out to my sister for my t-shirt. And C-Nail how I see it. Man, I appreciate you. I love you. Guys, maintain your sanity during this crazy pandemic that we're going through. Be wise, be smart, bless others. And as always, save and invest wisely. Till next time, I'm out.